Hey, welcome back to Everyday Jesus. My name is Derek. I'm so glad that you're here today. Man, it's been a crazy few weeks. I'm sure if you've been listening to the news or watching the news at all, you've seen several attacks on fellow Americans that have been happening, and it's just it's happened so much that we kind of are getting used to it. Right? Everyone is just another one, which is a horrible place to be, but it just feels that consistent, right? As I was thinking about what to talk about today, and kind of what I'm processing and following Jesus today, the thing that kept coming up was just the question of how to process these kinds of times that aren't going away. We're all looking for something to do, how to react, how to respond, and there just aren't a lot of clear, great answers. You know, in some of these instances, there are seemingly what seem to be specific targets for violence, and other times it just seems random. But also in the past year, we've dealt in our country with a lot of very specific issues of targeted hatred, and we don't know what to do with that, how to react to that. One big response or thought, we've got all these attempts to stop hate, end hate, which is not a bad thing. But I have to question in my own mind, how do you stop hate? Can you stop hate with what can easily become more hate? I think the answer is clear from Jesus, that to stop hate, we are called to love. And it's not always clear what that looks like. And so I've just been grieving and thinking these things over this week, and just again grieving the state of our country, grieving the lack of clarity that we have, and understandably so, with how to respond. There are certainly big overarching things that we probably need to address as a people, but there are also just those personal things that maybe I need to address. How do I respond as a person? Whether a follower of Jesus or just someone trying to do my best in this world, how do I respond? And so I want to look to Jesus to give me some guidance and give me some help to do that, because I'm limited and I'm weak and I don't know very much. Maybe you're like me and you're trying to figure out what to do, how to think about all of this. As I've been processing, I was reminded of that one story that Jesus gives. We call it the story of the Good Samaritan. He tells a story about a man who got attacked by some robbers, and he was beaten up and left on the side of the road, just bloody and hurt and alone. And he says a priest walked by and he saw the man, and he went to the other side of the road and just kept going. He had better things to do. And then a Levite, a man of the priestly order, the priestly tribe and of the Israelites, he saw him and he came by and he again just kept going. He didn't want to get defiled, didn't want to get involved. But then a Samaritan came by, someone of the kind of the second tier racial group, really, came by. And he saw the man, and he stopped, and he helped him, and he took care of his wounds. He took him to an inn and got him set up to recover, and took care of all of his expenses. And Jesus was telling this story to a man who was asking what he needed to do to get eternal life. And Jesus is telling him here, love your neighbor. And the man had asked, well, who is my neighbor? So Jesus turns the question on him, and he said, who of these three men was the man's neighbor? And of course, it's the guy who helped him, stopped. So as followers of Jesus, we're commanded to love our neighbors. We're also commanded to be neighbors. And sometimes that means seeing the wounding of a person, a friend, a stranger, or a people, and addressing those hurts, addressing those wounds. I think there are ways in which those of what is in general the most populous class, I don't know how to say it, but I think there are racial groups in this country, or more as individuals in this country, that need to do more to see and address the wounds that we or others have inflicted, and be a neighbor. I think there are a lot of ways that we can do that. On the flip side, I'm continually struck with the reality that it's hurt people that hurt people. We see in these past couple of weeks 2 shooters that something was going on, whether it's mental instability or emotional instability, whatever it is. These aren't guys that were just doing well and are winning and are just lashing out and hurting people and winning because of it. These are hurting people that hurt people. And so maybe one way that we are called to be neighbors is to look around us and see, who are the people that I know that are hurting, that are isolated, that are alone, that are struggling. Maybe they're a couple steps away from doing something desperate, from doing something crazy. And maybe I am called to be their neighbor and love them, reach out to them, give them a call, take them some food. We know that in our society we are more and more isolated, more and more disconnected. And we know that doesn't cause good things in us. So I'm not taking away responsibility for our actions, but I am wanting to say, maybe I have a responsibility to be a good neighbor to those that I know, and to pay attention and look and seek out those that might be hurting that I know, and figure out, how can I love them? How can I bless them? How can I bring life to them in ways that they need? And I know too, from following Jesus, these things sound inconvenient. They are inconvenient. It is inconvenient to reach out to people that we don't know. It's uncomfortable. Or reach out to people that we don't know well, or just go out of our way. It's easier to keep scrolling Facebook. It's easier to just stay at home, especially in COVID times. But I know when we reach out, when we inconvenience ourselves, when we lay down our rights and our convenience in our lives for the sake of one another, that's when the Lord gives us full and true life. He rewards us for that, now and for eternity. So I encourage you today, look around you and see who are the people on both sides, who are people that may not be like you. Who are people of a different people group from you that you know, that you see, that you could take a minute to learn, to understand, to appreciate. So much hatred just comes from not knowing, from ignorance, and not understanding someone else. Especially growing up in the Midwest, it has been easy, less and less, but it has been easy to go long periods of our lives without seeing people of other races, other ethnicities, other cultures. That's less and less true. But it is going to take some effort on my part, on our part, on your part, maybe, to get to know some people that you don't understand, that may seem completely backwards from you. But if you follow Jesus, and if you don't follow Jesus, but you are considering it, this is one thing that he calls us to: seeking out, understanding, loving those who are different from us, because He made us all. He made us all beautiful, and He values and loves each and every culture, each and every person. That's what we're called to do. So I encourage you, reach out, find someone who's different than you. If you feel like you're isolated in a cultural bubble, go find somebody that you're interested in, that you know that's different. Ask questions. Be open. Be humble. Be open about your ignorance. And love them. Get to know them. And at the same time, maybe you know somebody who is hurting and isolated and alone. Check in on them. Invite them over. Reach out. Love them. We are called to be good neighbors. And it's revolutionary when we are. Bless you with that. I'll see you tomorrow.